oftentimes people don't feel like they have a say in how the community moves and changes. And I think with something like soup, you are able to give voice, and you can feel and you can see the power of what your vote can do instantly. I'm Amy Kaherl, and I'm 34. Detroit Soup was started in 2010. There was a group of us that were working on a women's event in the Crowfoot in Pontiac, and we really enjoyed working together. And so our friend Kate experienced the dinner in Chicago and thought, hey, it could really start working here in Detroit. And so it started with the idea that artists could get small funding to move their art project to that next station in place, or can we do art that's weird and out of the box, and maybe through dialogue and conversation it would grow and expand. And I think what happened was Detroiters kind of found out that you could pitch ideas at Soup, and so it started moving not just from art, but really into it could be anything. And I think that's been why it's been so successful for so long.
Welcome to Detroit Soup. How are you all tonight?
So Detroit Soup is a micro-granting dinner that funds creative projects for the city of Detroit. So we have a monthly citywide dinner that features 4 ideas that have been pre-selected. These presenters have 4 minutes to share their idea, 4 questions back from the diners, and then the diners get a chance to share, connect, have conversation, and then vote on what project they should win the money from the door, because there is a suggested donation of $5, and all that money gets pooled and given to the winner.
The Lawn Academy provides leadership and mentoring to young men.
Most projects that you've pretty much heard of, I would say 7 out of 10 times they've often come through Soup and pitched at one point or another in their stage of growth.
We're a social enterprise. We focus on the mental and emotional well-being of women. We also have an outreach to female ex-offenders, and we refer to them as returning citizens. To support our mission, I've designed a collection of handbags that you see here.
I think people are really interested in this revitalization of the city. I think people are interested in seeing how people are approaching problems, and these are their potential solutions to this issue.
A lot of us went to prison because we were taking care of our families. Not saying it's justifiable because of the crimes that they committed. However, when you're pushed up against the wall, you have no way out. People do things, that's man or woman. So with that, I went to prison, I got out, I got 2 degrees, associates and a BA, and a vocational.
Can practice what it means to be in a democracy by exchanging conversation, by being challenged by one another, that having a shared experience, you can now turn to your stranger neighbor and say, hey, what project are you going to vote for? And all of a sudden, you're sharing stories, you're finding values, you're seeing how we're intersecting, we're seeing that we're a lot more alike than we are, that separates us. And I think it's important. I think people want to feel that importance, and they want to feel like they can contribute. And I think a lot of times we don't have $10,000 to give to somebody, but we can give of our time and our energy. Sometimes we just give $5 and we walk out of the door. And other times we give our $5 and we find our new best friend. And there's 2 people who found their spouses. So, I mean, it's about being in community, and it's about sharing space and being in a room that doesn't look like your probably friend group. And I think that that's really exciting, and it's challenging, but I think a lot of people are up for the challenge. I graduated in 1999. I left, and I never thought I'd come back. I went to Grand Rapids and went to college, and then I went to grad school. at Fuller Theological Seminary in Pasadena, California, and I thought I'd just stay. But in 2008, my mom had cancer for 14 years, 9 different times, and it just was her time to go. And so she was put in hospice, and I packed up all my things, got in my car, and headed back. And she passed away about 2 weeks later, and it was also the housing market crash, and I was a theologian who didn't want to work in a church. And so I found myself working for my mom's best friend as like doing admin stuff, and started going down into the city and meeting people, and it was easy to fall in love with. And it was a broken city, and I was pretty broken myself. And I met my 2 best friends outside of Lager House with a Dreamcatcher keychain. I mean, that's the magic of the city, and I love it, and I loved it. It's changed so much since I've moved here, but I am a Detroiter, and I feel like a Detroiter, and I always had that Midwest sensibilities, even when I lived in LA, which I love. And it's really, Detroit is I think what makes Soup interesting, and I think it's what makes the story interesting. So I was always interested in seminary, could we create opportunities where we could have conversations or engagement or engage others that would be, not about interfaith conversations. And I feel like Soup found me, and I found Soup, and it's like what I'm meant to be doing in life. And I'm so passionate about it, and I think it's really important. I think there's a lot of really important people that have helped out on it over the last 6 years. And man, we are a scrappy little group that just fights for the people of the city. I'm not going to ever be Dan Gilbert. I don't have the money and the wealth, but I have the power. I'm really good at gathering people together into safe space and create safe space for others. And I've been able to do it. I'm still shocked often that we're still here 6 years later, that we've been fighting hard for this, and that we believe in the power of this Detroit community. We're giving voice, we're listening, and we're responding by hopefully offering better programs and better opportunities for people to feel even more empowered to share their ideas.